Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Fred Speaks. I pray that this podcast finds you in the best of health and spirits. Today, I wanted to do an impromptu uh, podcast today, so just kind of want to be free form and just speak about a particular subject. So we'll get right into it. The subject is, what's your drip? And I was looking at how some rappers refer to drip as your diamonds and your wealth. Is how they define drip. And then looking at another rapper that says that it's your fashion. So what you wear, your attire. And I wanted to focus on, when it comes to drip, I wanted to focus on, from a spiritual standpoint, what's your drip? What is it that you are focused on and making sure that is coming forth in regards to God? And so are you, or do you have, or are you rich when it comes to having faith in God? Are you exuberating that love and that joy, that peace, that patience and long suffering? Are you dripping in that? Are you overflowing with that? Can others see that about you? So we know that the slang term in regards to drip is, regarding to a status, wealth, and material things that you have. But if we flip that and look at on a spiritual side, what is your drip? How are you looking? How are you coming forth in regards to your spiritual life? What is your spiritual status? Would you be defined as being rich, or would you be defined as being poor? And I was thinking about that. I want to be dripping to the point where others will see that I'm rich. I'm rich in faith. I'm rich in Jesus Christ. That I have something that nobody can take away from me, because it's endless. It is an abundance of it, that I'm overflowing with it. You ever meet somebody and it just seems like they're just full of life. And in order to have that, you have to have that Spirit of God, that love, that joy, that peace, that others will be able to see. And it just radiant. It's radiant. It's something that it can't be hid. That is, there's so much of it that it is contagious. That it causes others to look, and they're like, wow, that person is dripping. That person is overflowing with so many wonderful things that are of God. And having that drip, that where it's not so much of how your outside is looking, but that inner beauty, that inner joy and abundance of love, that is just so flowing and so apparent that others can see it, and they feel it when they're around you. That they feel love. They feel at peace around you. They feel, like they can talk to you. They want to talk to you. They want to be in your presence. So what are you dripping with today? What is it that you're presenting for when it comes to your spirit? Is your spirit one that is inviting, that others are like, man, I just love being around them. When I come in their presence, I feel like everything is going to be all right. and they have so many wonderful things to share. When you see them, they have a kind word, and that drip, that drip. People can see you from a natural standpoint where they can see you with some diamonds. They can see you spending money, being able to go and buy things as you please, and they can see these things. But what about being able to tap into that drip where, you know, your that spiritual part, that it is so abundant that, everywhere you go, people can see that about you, and they say, man, wow, I love how, she has that attitude that, is drawing, uh, that's something about her that it just makes people want to be in her presence or be in his presence. And so having that being rich in faith, and you can see it being expressed and put on display, that you have so much of it that your cup is overflowing, that you share it with others, and others can see, like, wow, man, I want that drip. I want to tap into what he or she is tapped into, because I want to be able to share a little bit of what I have, and that others will want to have it as well. And if you ever been around somebody who is doing well, it seems like they have the best of everything. They drive a nice car. They live in a nice home and everything. And you kind of from afar, you admire that. You like, man, I would love to have that, or I love to have that, what he or she has. But what about when it comes to the spiritual part, that you have something that is put on display, and it's not anything that is phony, but it's just who you are, and it's put on display, and others are like, man, I would love to have that. I would love for the Spirit of God to be working in me, so that others are like, man, I want to be just like that. I want to have that drip. I want to have that appeal, that thing that is appealing to others and is drawing to others. And you find people that are into movie stars. They see the glamour, they see the wardrobe and everything, and it's so appealing to them, and they say, one day I want to be able to dress like that. I want to be able to be confident like that. I want to be able to have the things that they have. But what about, man, if you, from a spiritual standpoint, that if you were so radiant and dripping so with Jesus Christ, that others are like, man, I want that. I want to be just like that. I want it to be, working in me, that others will see, like, man, she has that same thing, or he has that same thing that is so appealing and drawing, and that others want to be around. So I just wanted to talk about that. I've heard the word drip, and I'm just like, okay. So when I heard it and actually understood what different people referred to it as, and then I wanted to flip that and look at it from a spiritual standpoint of what you're dripping in. What's the thing that is radiating in you, and that is drawing to you, that others see it and they want it as well. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with cars or land, but it's all about that spiritual part, those good things, those good characteristics, and that others like, man, I want that in my life. I want to be that way. And when I go on my job, I don't want to be the one that can't hold their peace, but is always ready to uh, just start arguing and fussing with someone, or going back and forth with someone. But I want to be that person to be able to hold my peace, be able to let God fight my battle, instead of me trying to take it on myself and trying to fight my own battle and making things worse. I want to have that drip, so where others say, man, it's something different about him or something different about her. And they're like, man, I know what others are doing, but I see a difference in her. I see a difference in him. They have that drip for Jesus, that drip that you can't get out of the store. You can't go to Burdines or Macy's or your favorite jewelry store, K's or wherever, and you can't go and pick it up and purchase it out of there. But this is something that has to come from God. It's God has to give it to you. Everybody don't have it, and some people say, when you have that drip, you have, your attire is right, your jewelry is right, the thing, the car you drive, where you live, all of that is all on point. But man, what about having that drip that comes from heaven, that comes from God, that is such a great light that others are like, man, I want that, I want that, I want that, but you got to get it from God. You can't go to any of these other stores or anything like that and get it, but it has to come from God. And even if you have the jewelry, the cars, and all of that, but that's not the drip. You still won't have the drip. The only way you have this drip is you got to have God's spirit. And once you have his spirit, man, I'm talking about something so great that will be on display that others will be like, wow, man, I wish I could be more like her. I wish I could be more like him. And they'll want to find out more. They'll be attracted to it, or you'll be drawing them like a magnet. They'll be like, man, what is it about you? I see something different about you. And in that, you can say, I got that drip. I got that drip. I got that drip that only comes from God. That he's the one that provides it. He's the one that put it in my heart. And so I just want to end with like, what's your drip? What's your drip when it comes to God? What is it? What is it that you're putting on display? What is it that is radiant from your life and your relationship with God? Do others see that spirit working in you? That when you come on your job, they say, I see something different about him or her. And then when they have an issue, somebody's sick in their family that they hadn't even had a conversation with you, but they see that drip and they're like, will you pray for my family? Will you pray for my son, my daughter? And they ask you, out of all people, they ask you because they see that drip. They see what you're representing and what you're putting off. What is stemming from you. And they like, man, that's wow. And they want it too. They want to have that in their lives. So then let us make sure that it's good to look good on the outside, but let's not forget about the inside. That we have that drip. And if you have that drip on the inside, trust me, it will work its way outside. And you'll have that, presence about you, that aura about you, that others want to be around you. They want to talk to you. They want to hear what you have to say. And all I can say is, give it to me. I want that drip. I want that spiritual drip. Give it to me. Don't you want that spiritual drip? I want it. I want that. I want it to just be so radiant in my life that others desire it. Others want it. So with that, like I said, it's kind of impromptu and so I just wanted to share that with you. And I hope that you enjoyed it. And we want to encourage you to join us for another episode of Fred Speaks. Goodbye.